Spoilers, offensive content, and a handy index in the show notes for clicking on timestamps of note. Carlos and Dave, wrong show. Two Fat Guys Talk, episode 70-something. Last week, there were some horrific terrorist attacks in the city of Paris. 77. Horrific terrorist attacks in Paris. Our sincerest condolences and well wishes go out to the friends and family of those affected, as well to those affected. We are encouraged by the fact that France is not caving into fear, that they are still taking in refugees, and they realize that one of the root causes of terrorism is when these people have nowhere else to turn. That is promising, but at the same time, this is still a horrible thing, and our hearts go out to anyone involved. So yeah, that's our beginning spiel, I guess.
Also like to say condolences to all of the other suicide bombings that no one gives a fuck about.
Like in Beirut and in... where else did it happen? This is how terrible a person...
Better yet, where hasn't it happened in the Middle East?
Yeah.
Pretty much any suicide bombing that happens outside of Paris, or the US, or Britain, or any of the major...
Western
power nations, no one gives a flying fuck about.
Now, as important as that is to note that, yeah, we should be paying attention to the fact that the death toll in Syria is well and above the 100-some people who lost their lives in Paris that day. Like, a tragedy's a tragedy. Like, we don't want to sling mud and say your tragedy's less important. Like, your tragedy's less important because there were less people. It's still a tragedy.
It's not
less. Even if the attention is weighted unwarrantedly towards Paris, right? Of course, it happens elsewhere. And that was a pretty shitty day. There was like an earthquake off the coast of Japan, although nowhere near as big as the last one. There were bombings and killings all over the world. That Friday the 3rd...
That got more recognition than the suicide bombing that happened in any of them in the Middle East.
Well, that Friday the 13th really just lived up to it. It was just a shitty day. It proved that, no, Friday the 13th has nothing to do with luck. People are just assholes. I do applaud France and Paris and President Hollande for taking in refugees and not caving to fear. ISIS wants people to turn away moderate and liberal Muslims so that they can go join ISIS. That's why every fucking Republican politician, an alarming number of the Democrats, every conservative up here in Canada who wants to turn away refugees is a fucking imbecile. Because all they're doing is making ISIS stronger. When you don't do that, when you provide a safe haven for these people, and the 0.0002% of them that are awful, you are denying ISIS what it needs most, and that's people. So France has paved the way. They are a good role model right now. We need to follow suit. Shoutouts to Veerender Jubbal, who, got framed by GamerGate as being responsible for part of the Paris attacks. This is a Sikh man living in Canada. A Sikh as in not ill, but a Sikh. S-I-K-H. And he is a delightful human being I follow on Twitter, who basically the biggest crime he's committed in GamerGate's eyes is that he created the Stop GamerGate 2014 hashtag, and this made him GamerGate's public enemy number one. GamerGate is actively trying to get this guy murdered, and nobody will be charged, even though they should be. Just another example of how the wrong reaction to the Paris attacks is going to lead to more awful things. And yet another example of how GamerGate is the worst and a terrorist organization in its own right.
the Photoshop, what that was done on that was actually very well done.
Yeah, that's the alarming thing. It was so convincing, we had news outlets in Europe picking it up and then taking it down and apologizing. Jubbal is considered suing them. He should.
Well, no, he should, because no doubt he's now on a no-fly zone.
A no-fly list, yeah. For no good reason at all. Because angry white boy gamers are so mad that people don't let them get away with being assholes. I fucking hate them, man. They are the grossest people.
Well, besides, ISIS.
No, I think they're a bigger threat than ISIS.
Yeah.
The odds that I'll be impacted by ISIS are slim to none compared to being impacted by some angry little gamer pissant.
Speaking of ISIS, though.
ISIS gets... ISIS members get attacked and killed all the time. GamerGate members rarely get charged or any kind of justice for what they do.
Speaking of ISIS, however,
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear what the UN did?
What did the UN did?
The UN now has come together to say that all of their member countries, and they voted, that they will all fight against ISIS.
Sure. Here's how you start. You treat the Muslims in your country with respect, which they deserve because most of them are extremely peace-loving people who won't hurt anyone. And you help refugees that need it so that they don't turn to ISIS. I hope that's what they mean. If they mean more drones, more bombs, and more rejecting of refugees and immigrants and more xenophobia, then ISIS will never die.
You could do 2 of those 4 and still win.
Which 2?
Well, you can accept the refugees and do that, but still bomb the living fuck out of ISIS.
It won't help if we have Islamophobia front and center in our countries, and we do. All you're doing is you're disenfranchising our own citizens because they happen to believe in a particular faith. As long as you do that, ISIS will have all the people it needs.
I'm still surprised that the UN actually, for the first time in a very long time, they've agreed on an action against a group.
That's great and all. Let's just hope that the method they use is effective. The method we need, war is almost never necessary. War won't solve ISIS. It will not eliminate ISIS. War won't do it.
I disagree with you partially. I believe we need to accept moderate Muslims and everything else. Absolutely. But the current group of ISIS, you're not going to solve what ISIS is right now. You need to stop the inflow of people. Absolutely. But the current band of ISIS needs to go.
Oh, sure. Oh, no. When I say no war, I don't mean don't find ISIS or Boko Haram and murder them. I'm okay with that because they're fucking monsters. That's not what I mean by no war. I mean, let's rethink our position and maybe let's not believe in the US's military-industrial complex to save us. Maybe let's acknowledge that it's just making things worse.
I just find it hilarious that all it took to get Russia on board with the UN was one plane getting taken out by an ISIS bomb.
Sure. I mean, it's just...
I don't believe in what the UN does anymore. They are a completely... how to put this? They're useless. In their current form, they are a useless entity held way too much to account of the big Western countries and Russia.
Sure. Yeah, you're right.
They don't do anything anymore. So for the UN to actually sanction a hit basically on ISIS means that even if Canada was still involved mainly as peacekeepers, we would now be in this fight one way or another.
Sure, fine. Hopefully we'll do it the right way. despite President Hollande and France being a very shining, solid example, and with Obama saying they need to accept refugees, and with Trudeau saying we need to accept refugees, and we need to understand the root causes of this and not just have knee-jerk reactions that only hurt. There's some hope, but I'm still very cynical. Especially when you not only have all the Republicans in both houses of the states wanting to deny refugees and put them in camps, but you also have an alarming number of the Democrats on board, possibly enough to prevent a presidential veto of such an action.
That already happened. The vote was in excess of what they needed to get around his veto.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting that this is what modern liberals are now. We're just as garbage as conservatives. This is gross. This political state. Good job, politicians. You're just making it worse for yourselves. You're literally giving ISIS what it wants. Way to go. It's unbelievable. This fucking planet and its people. Speaking of Nintendo, let's talk about the latest Nintendo Direct, which was a couple weeks ago now.
My reaction to most of the news from Nintendo Direct.
Dave, why are you transforming into some kind of flesh beast? So while Dave transforms into a flesh beast, let's talk about what was revealed in the Direct. Nothing and then Cloud. They released they talk about a bunch of free-to-start stuff. And kudos to the term free-to-start. It's at least honest compared to free-to-play. But it's such a marketing buzzword to make free-to-play palatable. And it's a little gross to see Nintendo getting so into that kind of thing. Hopefully that's not a trend with them. A bunch of game announcements, including some games that have already been released. There's a new female Linkle, in Hyrule Warriors for 3DS. Hopefully she'll be DLC for Hyrule Warriors on the Wii U. Linkle...
I doubt it.
Linkle is... I like Linkle. I like how she looks.
I love the idea. I think it should have been done a long time ago.
I think every Zelda game should let you be a male or female Link. Some people want playable Zelda. Me, not so much. I just want the ability to be a female hero. Let me be a female Link. And if that female Link is Linkle, I'm okay with that. I like Linkle. She's great. Hopefully she'll be in Smash Brothers. Final Fantasy Explorers was one that I wasn't eyeing originally, but now kind of am. It's like Phantasy Star Online, but on 3DS and with Final Fantasy classes. Especially since I read more about it. Like, it's been out in Japan for a while, and our version's going to come with all the DLC that's already out, including like the Blue Mage class and some other stuff I'd really like to try. So I'm keeping an eye on that.
It's on 3DS?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Which
3DS?
I believe the is it new 3DS or is it regular? I'm not sure. I have a new 3DS, so it doesn't matter to me. More news about Star Fox, finally. Some new vehicles, like the R-Wing can now transform into a walker mode to do objective-based things inside bases. The Landmaster can transform into like a heavy hovercraft temporarily. And the mission seems to be a smattering of fly-on-rail stuff and stuff where you fulfill objectives inside buildings and need to do strategic things to help your mission along. It uses the gamepad pretty liberally, though, and they talked about steering and aiming by moving the thing, which I hope is optional because I don't want to do that.
I don't think it is optional. I think they're relying very heavily on the gamepad, which is a big reason why I will not be buying this game until it is really fucking cheap.
Not Phantom Hourglass. The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess
is
HD
getting a HD release,
on
which
Wii U.
If they can pull off anything like what they did with
Wind Waker HD?
Wind Waker HD, now granted, different challenge there because of the art style. But if they could pull that off, I will be looking at possibly buying Twilight Princess for the Wii U.
I was never a fan of Twilight Princess or 3D Zeldas in general, so I'll be avoiding it. But for people who like it, like Kiki was a big fan of double hook shots, so I'm pretty sure that she's going to be in on this.
I think we'll even see Skyward Sword released in HD for Wii U eventually.
Possibly.
And here's the thing. They look amazing. Absolutely. They've even managed to tighten up some of the controls, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of pumped. I also would really like to see Skyward Sword done that way, because I played it on computer in real HD.
Completely legally.
I own the game.
That's what I said. Wink.
No, I own the game on frickin' Wii.
I hear what you're saying, elbow.
And I've seen what they could actually do with it, if it given the power, so the Wii U version would look good, and maybe they can get rid of the control scheme.
Garbage motion controls.
Look, I found that fun for the first little bit.
Good defense. I found it fun for a little while.
And then realized that, yeah, this is not great.
They talked about the new Zelda is being released in 2016, but they only showed a little snippet of it.
And when you mentioned that, what was my first comment?
They're going to make it for NX just the same way Skyward Sword was... Not Skyward Sword, Twilight Princess was for Wii.
Yeah.
Even though there was a GameCube version of Twilight Princess, which I believe is the one Kiki played, because that's the one I bought, because fuck the motion control nonsense.
Yeah, when your combat in Twilight Princess basically revolves around putting your hand on your knee and just moving your knee a whole bunch, that's not exactly motion combat.
It's also a good way to just accidentally orgasm. Just accidentally orgasm. Speaking of accidental orgasms, the internet lost its collective shit when Cloud Strife was revealed for Smash 4. My first reaction was, boo, it's not Terra. But as time passed, I started to get more and more excited by this. I don't hate Final Fantasy VII. I hate how overrated it is. I don't even hate Cloud. I hate how he had a complete arc in FF7, had a complete story done, and then in Advent Children, in addition to all the other garbage Advent Children is, and it's garbage, they put him back to being Emo Cloud because that's all they know how to do with the character. He looks, in Smash Brothers, he looks really good. It's like they found a halfway compromise between his anime look in Final Fantasy VII and his more realistic modern Nomura look in Advent Children. And his outfit, is cool. His costumes look good. He's got the Advent Children outfit. He looks like a blast to play. He looks like a better balanced variant of Ike, really. And the Midgar stage looks like a blast as well.
It is. You showed me that.
With the summons. What's really surprising, similar to Snake, Sonic wasn't even this big of a shock, because Sonic has been very friendly. Like, Sega's been very open with Nintendo for some time now with Sonic. Snake was a bit of a shock, because Snake hasn't been a Nintendo thing since the NES days. So seeing Snake in the last Smash game was a little shocking, but Cloud is still a shock to me. Just because Cloud... FF7 has not only been predominantly Sony, all the FF7 games have been Sony productions. Hell, even Advent Children is a Sony Pictures flick, right? But, like, Final Fantasy VII represents the split between Nintendo and Square Enix back in when they split, when Square Enix became disenfranchised with Nintendo.
And even then, it wasn't really a break, because they still released multiple Final Fantasy branded games on the DS and the 3DS.
Eventually, for the longest time, they were a Sony outfit, though. For a
as
very
long as
time.
Nintendo's had portables, all of their portable games have gone there.
Eventually, it took time. This
really.
was after FF9 that they finally had a working relationship with Nintendo again. But I mean, in a way, it's not surprising though, because when most people think Final Fantasy, they think Cloud. So as a rep for Final Fantasy, he's the best rep. Maybe this means we'll get another FF character. Maybe this is a good chance we'll see Terra.
People are already saying Tifa.
Or Cecil.
No. If we get another Final Fantasy character, you can pretty much guarantee it's going to be Tifa.
I'm okay with Tifa. More women and less swordsmen. Like, I'm totally okay with Tifa. I have no issue with Tifa making it in. I would have no issue with someone weird from FF7, like Yuffie, which would be my preference, but, whatever. No, he looks like a blast. I'm interested to see, they're doing a special Smash announcement in December, which Nintendo of Europe is saying is going to be the last such Smash Brothers announcement.
Yep. We'll
see if that holds true. They're probably going to release more characters, the same way how when Lucas was released, they're like, oh, and by the way, Ryu and Roy are here too. So
we'll see.
Who do you think is going to get released alongside Cloud, and who would you want to get released alongside Cloud? Pick two for each.
I'm the wrong person to ask because I haven't cared about Smash Brothers since almost its release.
I know you're the wrong person to ask. Answer the fucking question. I'll start. I want to see Linkle, and I want to see Terra. Who I'm expecting is Wolf, who I am totally okay with, and whoever wins the fan poll, which is probably going to be, if I had to hazard a guess, I don't know, Midna? Let's say Midna. That seems a safe bet, right? People love Midna.
I saw one of the webcomics that I frequent, I forget which one though, had a comic where they're doing the announcement, and there's Snake hiding in his box, and he's about to jump out, like he's the one being announced, and then Cloud's there, just like, fucker, kind of thing. I think Snake could still make it in.
Okay.
Besides Snake, they might add in Tifa. Tifa's going to make it in as either a playable character or an assist trophy.
She'll at least be an assist trophy.
Quite frankly, she'd fit more as an assist trophy because that's all she's kind of been in the game.
She's Cloud's silver medal.
Yeah.
You don't know how awesome it would be if there's an FF7 sequel and Cloud is not Emo Cloud anymore and he and Tifa are friends because it turned out it just didn't work, but they remain mutual friends with each other. And they've moved the fuck on.
Nope, not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen because Nomura doesn't know what he's fucking doing. So that was the Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, other than a couple of the games that are being re-released in HD, there really wasn't much for me in this Nintendo Direct.
Sure, it was a little underwhelming until the end, and I will admit that I've been kind of in a downer mood lately, and to cheer myself up, I've been watching some people's reactions to Cloud, because even though FF7's not my joint, it's a lot of people's, and seeing people see someone who was not leaked, surprisingly enough, and who no one was expecting, it's kind of fun to see, like...
I was hoping for more Mario Kart DLC.
We still may, we'll see.
Now, I'd like to see a Mario Kart stage driving through Midgar.
Huh. The next Mario Kart should just be Smash characters. The Dark Pyramid from the Dark World of Zelda, to me, it would be a perfect track. You start at the top, you drive around the outside of the pyramid, you get to the bottom, and a spring takes you back up to the top, and that's your lap.
I think what should happen is, now that Mario Kart has actually come back to being fun again, grab just Sonic from the Sonic racing game and use a bunch of the properties from that for their stages, because the stages were amazing.
In Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed?
Yeah.
Afterburner stage, Night stage,
like the
Death Egg.
You don't need to borrow the flying stuff. Stick to what Mario Kart has been doing with what they did with Mario Kart 8.
With the anti-grav and stuff.
Grab the creativeness that was done for some of those stages.
I think the anti-grav really fit Mario Kart well.
It did.
Forget that.
It really did.
The next Mario Kart, have the anti-grav, make it a Nintendo-wide character thing. For the love of God, put the double carts back in. And
that'll never happen because the Japanese hated it.
I don't care. Put it back in. Nintendo's an international fucking company.
I want it, but it always starts in Japan. If the Japanese don't like it, we don't get it.
That's not always true. A lot of companies make decisions that are more for international audiences because they know where their money comes from, right? Like,
but yeah, no, like let's Mario Kart 8 had a lot of stages that were very creative in the way that we've commented before. We want games to be using those kind of ideas for stages and the like. Let's get out of the dark age of fucking Mario games where everything's the same. Oh, look at this, I'm going into the ice world.
Yeah, why isn't Neo Bowser City a Mario stage?
Like, let's use those ideas in some of these 3D Mario stages, or 2D for that matter.
I'm going to say something blasphemous.
Move on.
I'm going to say something blasphemous, Dave.
Yeah.
I love Mario games. They're really good. They are great platformers, great studies of platformers, too. But the Mario series is a little overrated. Because Mario games like to fit a lot of content in, but a lot of that content is samey, as you said, and not very exciting, compared to a Mega Man or a Castlevania, which traditionally had much fewer stages, but each stage was much more fleshed out, had a lot more iteration, a lot more mechanical tuning, so that each stage is a unique experience. I've always felt that Mega Man games are better platformers, even if they're shorter, even if they don't come out as often as I'd like to see, because you get shit like Neo Bowser City in a Mega Man game, right? Like,
I do believe that, like, Mario Galaxy 1.
Oh, I love Mario Galaxy.
Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 was the first time in years that Nintendo finally innovated.
In Mario?
In Mario. I'm not talking giving a new suit like the cat suit for...
Barbie's got a new hat!
Yeah, exactly. But the mechanics there, I mean, you added gravity and you added frickin' moons and planetoid-sized areas that you were shooting between. They innovated.
But they were cool settings, though.
Yes, like, and that's just it.
Ghost Galaxy.
Yes.
Bowser's Warship. Like what the fuck, man?
There was the stuff, like, we're talking about in Mario Kart 8. We want to play on that sort of stuff. Mario Galaxy, they actually did something new.
Yeah.
And then what have we gotten since then? We've gotten reiterations of old stuff.
The 3D Mario, like Mario 3D World's pretty cool.
It's cool, but again, it's
a lot of it is
too
samey.
much.
A lot of it is samey.
It's like, okay, I'm back into the themed worlds. Yes, Mario Galaxy had a little bit of that, but you moved on very quickly from setting to setting to setting.
Why can't one of those worlds be Neo Bowser City?
Exactly. Why are we doing...
I just really want Neo Bowser City as a level now.
Why are we doing grasslands, water world, ice, desert? Move on.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
We've redone this 8 world settings so many times. Even if you look back in Mario World, we did that again.
Yep.
Get beyond this. You can throw a couple stages in here and there, but you don't need the entire giant world settings to show that, oh, I'm in Ice World.
It's funny that Nintendo likes to disavow the old Mario Brothers cartoon, as do its fans. But one of the cool gimmicks of that cartoon is they were always in a weird, different themed land. And those themes were like James Bond Spy Land, Zorro Land. Like I'd love to see Mario do that.
That's why they disavow it.
It would be awesome to see Mario do that, man. I'd be all for shorter, but much more imaginative Mario games.
Sure.
They don't need to be long. Game length is overrated, Angry Joe. It just is.
It's fine to leave you wanting more as long as you don't feel gypped with it.
Sure. Speaking of that, Gravity Falls creator Alex Hirsch has announced that indeed this final season of Gravity Falls will be the last. As of this recording, Weirdmageddon Part 2 will be out in a couple days, and Parts 3 and 4 are getting combined into one final hour-long episode. After that, Gravity Falls is done. He has said he won't rule out, coming back to it in the future sometime, but this chapter's done. Which I think we kind of all saw coming.
Well, especially with Weirdmageddon starting up.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, yeah, this is the beginning of the end.
Pretty much. But, yeah, let the guy go sleep, Alex Hirsch. He did a good job. Go sleep now. Go
next
sleep.
time, get onto a channel that won't
take 4 years
control.
to release 2 seasons.
Yeah, that's another thing that Disney drug this out.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, we'll let you release it sometime next year. It's like, no, it's kind of done now. Let's get this out.
I see that a lot of people are very upset that the show is ending, because I peruse Tumblr quite a lot.
So is Disney.
Oh, I know they wanted him to continue.
Disney very much like the reason. Supposedly, the reason why this last delay happened was Disney wanted him to stop and think about things, and then get him to do at least a season 3. Mm-hmm. And Alex came back and said, "No,
he doesn't want to do it
because this is one of Disney's highest grossing shows
on Disney XD."
Yeah.
The thing is, like, and I made a long Tumblr post about this a while ago, and it got a fair number of notes, and I'll just repeat the gist of it. Things end. Just because a canon ends, just because a show ends doesn't mean a canon is over, or maybe it is. Like, there could still be a new show set in the DC animated universe today, which will continue where Justice League Unlimited and Batman Beyond left off. Or maybe we'll never see it again, and that's over, and I'm glad I watched it. If it does continue, great. We are going, in less than a month, we will be sitting in a theater watching Star Wars Episode 7, and yesterday, Digimon Tri released the first movie in that series, which was a sequel to the first 2 seasons of Digimon, which wrapped up. So, I mean, just because Alex Hirsch is in Gravity Falls does not mean he'll never come back. Maybe in a few years, maybe in 10 years or so, he'll want to do a continuation. Maybe he'll want to give it to someone else to do a continuation. Or maybe Gravity Falls is just done.
Yep.
Listen, yeah, I can see why people would be depressed by it, because for some people, like, we watch a lot of shows. We'll just move on to our next show. That's not everyone. Some people, they attach to a show and it's over and there's a gap in their lives. That's not weakness. That's normal. That it's normal to enjoy your entertainment and your fiction.
I usually call that soap opera syndrome.
Well, I mean, but it's a real thing. We shouldn't discount the fact that some people will suffer real anxiety and real withdrawal over the fact that Gravity Falls is ending. Ultimately, this is the nature of television. This is the nature of anything. Everything ends, right?
Yeah.
If there is no more Gravity Falls, be thankful that we got the great show we got. If there is more Gravity Falls, that's fine. We'll get to it when we get to it. Like, the way I treat canons is I treat them as bubbles that are closed, but that always could be opened again. Because I am of the firm belief that a story can always be continued. Or that a story need not necessarily be continued. Look, if there's no second season of Kill la Kill, that'll suck. But that doesn't change the fact that it's one of my favorite shows, and I will enjoy that one season it lasted. Same thing with Green Lantern, the animated series. Same thing with any show I've loved that is over. That maybe will not be over in 5 to 10 years, or maybe will stay that way. What I recommend for people who are feeling legitimate anxiety is, mourn it a bit, and then move on and look for some other entertainment. There's a ton. There's a lot to delve into. And if you maybe if you, I'm going to throw this out there. If you feel depressed by this, drop us a line. Maybe we can send you a message to cheer you up. Dave is a certified cheer-upologist. He is licensed.
I have a message right now for it.
Dave, be nice to our fans.
You never are.
I am, despite my often cynicalness, I am a very polite and understanding human being. I'm always the guy saying people can like what they like, even if I hate it. Even if I hate it a lot. So what are you going to say, Dave?
I just got 3 words.
Oh, God.
Get over it.
You're a jackass.
No.
You're a jackass.
That's what a lot of people that just don't give a fuck would say. Yeah, people do get depressed when their favorite show ends. Or a show that they loved ends without, even with closure or without closure. You want to see this continue. You want to see the further adventures of Person X.
There's a little show called Reboot that ended on a cliffhanger.
3 times. 3 fucking times. We still don't have a fucking finish. Even though they've been promising us a new show for what, 8 years?
That's a hiatus.
Finding my happy place. Finding my happy place. Anyway, my problems aside, I understand it. It's just that eventually you need to come to terms with it, and just you do need to move on eventually.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Getting over it is not. You need to move on eventually. You can mourn a character, you can mourn a show, but there's plenty of shows out there.
We can recommend some.
Not many that I would. I don't watch myself many TV shows.
Anime counts, so you watch quite a few.
Okay, I don't watch many live action shows.
Okay.
But the ones that I do, I'm sorry when they're gone. Sanctuary sucked when it ended. Because it had so much more to do.
Why don't we give people some recommendations for after they're done with Gravity Falls? Why don't we...
Steven Universe.
Yes, go get Steven Universe. Right now, it's ongoing. It's on its own little hiatus. Much like Gravity Falls, it has the hiatus thing happening once in a while. But it's still going. And in a lot of ways is a lot more liberal and open than Gravity Falls. I argue Steven Universe is the best thing on television. Gravity Falls is close, but it's not quite that quality. But hey... If you like Gravity Falls, Alex Hirsch loves Steven Universe too, so go watch that.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons too.
Another show Alex Hirsch likes that we also like, Star vs. the Forces of Evil.
Yeah, which is currently in between seasons.
The humor should be right up right up the alley of anyone who liked Gravity Falls.
Yeah.
If you're looking at something of a Japanese persuasion, that perhaps is a little more mature, but also very funny and very well animated and very humor filled.
Kill la Kill.
Kill la Kill. That's one I recommend to anyone.
Gurren Lagann.
Gurren Lagann, very very similar. Well, Gurren Lagann will make you sad that it ends because it ends as well, and it's a little heartrending too. But it's a satisfying end. The entire DC animated universe, start with Batman the Animated Series, go all the way to Justice League Unlimited. You won't be sorry, I don't think. Look, I'm just saying this because I've seen it on Tumblr. If you're feeling legitimately depressed and you want some words of cheering up, reach out to me. I'll help cheer you up. I don't want to see people sad that something gets canceled, because I've been through so many show cancellations in my life.
Here's the thing, though. This isn't a cancellation.
No, it's not. It's an ending.
This
it's
is
an ending. You're right.
Ending. You can be totally depressed about a show getting canceled before it finishes.
You can be depressed about a show ending.
Yes, you can. But in a lot of cases, we get a little bit more depressed about shows that are so good, and then they get canceled because some network exec decides that it's not making enough money or getting enough viewers.
Gangsta.
Yeah.
Yep.
Except that one, the company actually went bankrupt.
Same difference.
That's a little bit different than some exec just pulling the plug part way.
Well, in a way, it is some exec pulling a plug.
The company went under. This isn't Fox saying, oh, well, we don't like this show, so we're shutting down Firefly.
They could have continued as stick figures.
Speaking of companies shutting things down without any right to do so, YouTube.
So Google is apparently sticking their guns with the fair use thing. They're going to defend, according to their words, several high-profile, good examples of fair use against the companies, bringing unlawful, unwarranted copyright claims against them, put them up on their copyright center as examples of strong fair use. None of those videos are Carlos and Dave anime raves.
Of course not.
But it's good to see that happening because that will set a precedent, I think. Will it change the status quo? No. Will it help change the status quo over time? Much more slowly than I would like to see.
Yeah, because we put up with that shit on every video, pretty much. And every single one is fair use. We've never had one stick that I know of. Have we?
No.
Everyone we've challenged has been turned back on by YouTube because it is fair use. We were a little bit worried about Google's Project Red possibly causing us some problems.
YouTube Red, yeah, a little bit. But so far, nah.
Especially with that one notification we got about how Sony Japan with that Kill la Kill episode.
Yeah, they
were taking it down because Sony Japan hasn't done the whole Google Red. That shouldn't stop us from putting up a video.
Agreed.
Because our stuff is not their property.
Look, here's the matter of fact. If any of these companies pressed the issue and sent us a cease and desist, I'd take the video down. Because that's not a fight I don't want to fight that fight. You want to take time off your job to get representation, go to court.
But if Google is actually going to stick to its guns, they're offering legal
to
cancel
certain videos. It won't be to everyone. It won't be to us.
All I'm saying, you push the issue enough, who knows?
We're not popular enough or liked enough to be one of those high-profile cases. Honestly, if they come back tomorrow and say cease and desist or we're bringing lawyers, I'd say take it down. Take it down. We'll put up a written review of it or whatever, because it's not worth the money and our time. If we were doing this full time and we had the money and we had a lawyer on board who was confident, and this lawyer, they were confident that they could challenge this and win, that would be a different case. We do not. This is something we're doing on the side, completely for free, so far. And we have no such lawyer. I am actively looking for work. You are actively full-time working. And before I lost my current job, I was doing this while doing a full-time job on evenings and on weekends. So, I mean, there's no recourse for us right now other than to hope that we don't get sued. And we knew this coming in, didn't we? We knew this going in, that this is the price we're paying to get our voice out there, because it's important. We want to be able to... I don't like Movie Bob a lot, but there is one thing I respect that he said. And he said, listen, whether or not you like what I do, if you have something to say, go out and say it. And we came out and expressed opinions and said stuff, and we're going to continue to try to do that, right? But there's a price. There's a price to pay for our freedom to do so, and... if that price comes back and bites us, I guess we'll have to decide then to fight or to fly.
I'll get my poking stick.
Okay. Speaking of the voicemail box, do we have any voicemails? I put out a call only yesterday. Normally I give people like a week in advance, but I didn't this time, which means I think Meowth has probably been busy not sending us voicemails.
Nope.
Okay, no voicemails this week. If you have voicemail, go to twofatguystalk.com. Click the send voicemail button on the right-hand side. If you send us voicemail what we like, we'll play it on the air and then we'll answer it. If you want to send us mail or suggestions that aren't voicemail, you can just leave us a comment on one of our posts or go to our Twitter at twofatguystalk. Okay, that's been the voicemail section. What's next on the docket?
Wii U game coming out here soon.
Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Yes.
I really like Xenoblade Chronicles on my 3DS, though I played a criminally small amount, and I'm going to start it over when I play it again. I'm
just glad I can play this game without having played the previous.
Yeah, you don't need it. It's
standalone.
It's standalone. It looks kind of like if Fallout 4 was worth it.
Shut up.
Which I say because, God, I hate Bethesda, and of course I'm ribbing my good pal Dave, who likes Fallout 4.
Fallout 4 is... amazing for what Bethesda has done in the past. They have made a solid game.
Sure. And if perhaps we treated Bethesda as a maker of mediocre titles, I wouldn't be so upset that they always get 10 out of 10s. And everyone's like, oh man, when we're able to patch this garbage in half a year, it'll be the best game ever.
And that isn't Fallout 4.
That's not what I'm hearing. Everyone that tries to defend the game to me is still like, hey man, listen, but when this is patched, this will be like a solid 9 out of 10, and why would I play any other game over this? And I try to tell them, because you can go play 10 out of 10s right now. that don't need patching later.
And all I'm saying is, and this is kind of a first for me to be that guy, but I've had 0 technical issues with the game so far, so I don't need patches to fix anything.
Sure, and that's fine. Some of us...
I don't need mods to make the game... Like, this isn't Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas where I needed patches or mods done by modders day one to play the game.
Look,
this game is solid.
Look, it takes all kinds. Some people like eating garbage. Some people like consuming garbage. It's just, who am I to judge the garbage eaters of this world? That's all I'm saying.
Mirror you.
So, yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles X is out here imminently. Looks good. A similar battle system to the Xenoblade Chronicles, which basically is like an MMO game offline, but done right. A lot more fast-paced, a lot better selection of skills in real time. Basically, imagine if FF12 wasn't trash, and that's Xenoblade Chronicles. That's the best way I can describe it. Imagine if FF12 was not garbage.
How about the modifications/censorship?
Well, it's not really censorship, but what's getting changed?
The one characters having their outfit changed to be less sexy.
Mm-hmm.
And they removed, during the character creation or customization, the ability to make breasts larger or smaller.
Well, I don't like that last one because, first of all, if you're a woman with large breasts, maybe you want to play a character with large breasts.
And that was the first comment that I saw from one woman on one of the pages, and she's like, as a big-breasted woman, why can't I make my character? Now, that could be a guy. Don't get me wrong saying
No, I realize.
They're right. Why can't you? How does this change make it more or less friendly to an audience?
Yeah, that I disagree with. And that I disagree with completely, and I'll fight anyone on that one. The changing of certain characters' outfits, like... I'm less upset about that because really...
My biggest thing on that is if you're worried about an audience not liking a default outfit due to sexifying...
Sexifying.
Yes.
I believe the scientific term is sexifying.
It is. A character, then that's fine if you want to change it. But add that as a piece of DLC that a person can still download.
Maybe, sure. I don't know.
As much as I don't want to play the game because just not my thing anymore, the new Fatal Frame that was released. Again, I don't want to play this, but Nintendo went in and changed the Game Plus outfits in it. Traditionally in Fatal Frame games, when you do the new Game Plus, you can do kind of a more skimpily outfitted character for a Game Plus run-through.
Mm-hmm.
For North America, they gave us Samus and Princess Peach outfits.
Sure. Like...
If you're going to do that, again, by default, give us the DLC that we can still have that content.
Look, I don't need to objectify women. I can, there's lots of porn I can jerk off to if I feel like orgasming. But the breast slider thing, it reminds me of, like, the breast slider thing, no, because we're talking about body types now. Changing a character's outfit, you know, there's something to say that maybe it's just in good taste to do that, and it should have always been the way the new outfit is. Not letting someone change the character's body type to either match their own or match who they just want to be in the game.
Yeah.
Now we're getting into body shaming and sex shaming, and I am not okay with that. It's similar to how, like, you know, the pissing, moaning little man babies complaining about the camera angles in Street Fighter V are in the wrong. But they took out Mika's ass slap, which was just a taunt and very much part of her character and her flavor. That one I kind of see why people are upset about, because that's a lot of Mika's flavors, that she talks. She's a talker. She likes to trash talk people, and she likes to smack their ass at them and go, you can't fucking touch this. And like, get that getting taken out, I see why people are upset about that legitimately, because they shouldn't have. The camera angles I buy, the NPC outfits I buy, the breast slider, no, that's just silly, man. Like now what you're doing is you're legitimately just shaming people for being a certain body type, and that I do not agree with whatsoever. I just don't like there's objectification, and then there's also accepting different body types. And a lot of melanistic type people will say that these are one and the same, that objectifying is accepting body types, which it's not. But there's a delineation here, and I think one is over the line and one isn't.
One other game I'm looking forward to that I've ordered in the near future, at least, is Just Cause 3. Comes out December. Which I didn't even realize until I was looking up different games that were coming out. I'm like, oh wait, they have this listed as December 4th, 2015? This date's or December 1st. And I'm like, this has gotta be wrong. This is a placeholder. Holy fuck, it comes out December 1st.
The Just Cause games are games that I always thought needed and Knuckles DLC.
Okay, now you just made this stupid.
Because Knuckles would be perfect for these open world environments. He can glide or climb. Unlike Sonic, he doesn't chuckle. He'd rather flex his muscles. He's hard as nails. It ain't tough to tell.
Shut up.
Breaks them down
Stop.
whether they're solid or frail.
Stop it.
Born on an island in the heavens.
No.
The blood of my ancestors flows inside me. My duty is to save the flower from evil deterioration.
This has been Two Fat Guys Talk. I'm ending this now before I have to kill him.
No, I was done. I was done singing. Whoa, are you really ending it? TwoFatGuysTalk.com. That's our channel. That's their website. Oh, God!